Hello, this is Heather of Henna by Heather, and in this video I'm going to show you how to mix henna paste from scratch using natural henna powder, essential oil, and lemon juice. Those are the only three ingredients we're going to need. So we are going to start with this kit from Artistic Adornment, and that is also my online supply store, where you can get all these exact same things. So I'm now going to switch to the up close view so that you can watch what we're doing. So here I've got our henna kit, and I'm going to take everything out of it. Actually, I already took out the essential oil, and then we've got our henna powder. We're using Mohana henna, which is always the best henna that we've got available from Artistic Adornment. Also in the kit is a tube of henna applicators. We're going to get into how to fill those and how you can make your own in another video. Today we're going to focus on mixing. You also have a little bag to put your henna paste in once it's all prepared, and we'll use that in the cone filling video. And then you have complete instructions also written out for you here, and you can find them at artisticadornment.com too, and there's sample designs for you to follow along with as well. So that's everything that's in the kit, and without further ado, we're going to open up our henna powder. So it comes in a double sealed bag, typically, if it's high quality stuff. So first, open up this outer bag, and then we've got our henna powder. You're gonna wanna shake down, shake it down a little bit so that the top doesn't have too much powder there, so that when you open it, it doesn't spill out all over the place and make too much of a mess. So just kinda cut it open a little bit while holding it over the bowl. Shake out whatever is in that little upper part you just cut out, and then just tap the rest on down. So this is a very finely sifted henna powder. It looks like there are little lumps in it, but really if you just touch them, then they become powder. So all the little lumps are going to disappear as we mix it in with our lemon juice and our essential oil. So I'm using a metal bowl, and you're going to want to use either a metal bowl or a glass bowl, but not a plastic bowl. Because, and I'll switch up to my face for this, because if you use a plastic bowl, there's a very high chance that the essential oils will eat the plastic. We learned this the very hard way at a henna conference once, where we thought it was a very clever idea to mix small little batches of henna in plastic cups so that people could hold on to them themselves and could just mix a small amount and take them back up to their hotel rooms at night and see how it was developing and everything. Some people didn't take them up to the rooms at night. A lot of them were left at the hotel, at the conference space, until the next morning. When we got there in the morning, the ones that were left there, we saw the cups had just melted. So, you're going to want to mix in a metal bowl or a glass bowl. If you have gotten hair henna, henna for hair in the past, they may say to not mix in a metal bowl, but that's because a lot of the henna for hair that is specifically sold as such is mixed with other things like metallic salts and other stuff that you don't want in your body art henna and probably don't really want on your body, and those are not in the body art quality henna powder that you purchase if you were to get something like Mohana henna. Anything that's sold by henna artists specifically for doing henna body art is going to be strictly the powder. It's the powdered leaves of the henna plant. Okay, without further ado, back to the close-up. So we've got our henna powder, and as you can see, it kind of gets everywhere. It's easy enough to clean up when it is dry, and we'll clean that up later, but once it gets wet it will stain things, so be careful. Alright, so next we are going to use, bottled lemon juice. No, I did not get Real Lemon to sponsor this. I maybe should have, oh well. It's very important that you get bottled lemon juice, and because, again, back up to the face, the reason you want to get bottled lemon juice is because it is kept at a very consistent pH level, whereas if you were to sit there and squeeze your own lemons, since they are just natural lemons off of the lemon tree, there's going to be some variation depending on all sorts of growing factors, like what the moisture was, what the heat was, all these things while the lemons were growing. But because bottled lemon juice, by a regulation, has to be within some certain range of acidity, they actually find it's very much easier for them to keep it in a really narrow little range and just not worry about it too much. So they go to great lengths to check the pH and water it down accordingly when it's bottled lemon juice, and especially the Real Lemon brand. Again, the reason why Real Lemon brand is learned through failure in the past, again at a henna artist conference. It seems like the henna artist conferences are where you're working with a lot more people, so you will try to do things in slightly different ways than maybe you had, or you find yourself in a new situation, you have to try something new because you're not at home. In this case, I had like outsourced the making of the henna to one of the attendees, like someone who I was close to and like I knew she knew how to mix henna. She did. She got the bottled lemon juice. However, she thought it would be a great time to use a different kind of lemon juice than she usually had, because we were going to use so much of it, so we might as well buy it in bulk at a cheaper way. I didn't know that that was what happened. She bought a different brand, and it had pulp, a lot of pulp. As you probably can't see, this does not have pulp. Real Lemon brand is super filtered and is just liquid, no pulp. So we learned the very hard way, again, that when you mix henna with lemon juice that is not this brand, is maybe the store brand or a restaurant supply store kind of brand, the chance of there being pulp in there is very high. So just get this. Also, you could mix with water, you could mix with strong black tea. I'll include a link to where the timing differences are accounted for when you use those different liquids, but for a lot of reasons, I recommend lemon juice as opposed to other mixing liquids. The main one is that the henna is a preservative, a mild preservative. So when you mix it, the henna powder, the henna mix, the paste, just doesn't go bad as fast. Whereas henna that's mixed with water will be good at room temperature for like half a day, maybe a whole 8-hour work day, but quite possibly not. The henna that's mixed with lemon juice, if it's kept relatively cool, not in direct sunlight, etc., is going to be good for at least 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. And if you keep it on ice or in a refrigerator, it's good for like a week. So just the faster that your henna paste is ready once you mix it, the faster it will also demise. I imagine that I'll make a video all about that later, but for now, lemon juice, because it's going to be consistent and your henna paste is going to last a good long time and it's going to be great. All right, so back to the close-up. So we've got our Real lemon juice. Now, I do not measure by a measuring cup. If I did, I would put in about 1 cup at first. But what I really do is just squeeze enough that basically all of the henna powder on the top layer is floating on top of lemon juice. So if you can kind of see, there's a layer of liquid underneath the henna powder now. So that's where we want to start with mixing. So we're gonna kind of fold it at first so we don't get powder flying all over and getting all over stuff like the powder is inclined to do if you're not too careful with it. So at first it's sort of a folding motion like this. Get from around the edges. Isn't it attractive? So we're just trying to get these more like liquidy bits to combine with the more powdery bits, you know, regular mixing stuff. So we're gonna do this until there's no more bits of very, very liquidy parts left. Also, if you have a bowl that has a little thing like this, it's quite handy for making sure it doesn't move all around as you're stirring. That's just a general life thing, not really a henna thing. So that was not nearly enough. I'm gonna add about that much more lemon juice and just keep mixing. So I said that if I were measuring, I would start with a cup. That is a cup overall for this whole first part that I'm doing right now. This whole first step would be about a cup total, but I think that it's much better for your understanding of what the henna is going to end up as and how much liquid you really need to add, to do a little bit at a time. Also because you want to always be mixing in the little bits of powdery stuff that like are left like there, and just get it all wet and all combined nicely. So this is about where we would leave it. This is the texture we want more or less after we're done with mixing in the lemon juice. So as you might have noticed, we did the lemon juice first. Back up to the face. We did the lemon juice first, but now we're gonna add in the essential oil. If you watched my videos from like a decade ago, I had explained how it was very important that you mix the essential oil in halfway through the dye release and had a lot of rationale for why that is. I have come to embrace simplicity more than that and just believe in the power of, or like trust in the power of my henna powder and my mix to be good enough quality that I don't have to worry about the exact like length that the dye is gonna be good. The reason that you might put the essential oil in halfway is just to extend the period of time over which your henna is acceptably good. But what I really prefer now is to just use it when it's its very best and keep it on ice and don't use it after 24 hours, and just have it good for that 24-hour period or so, and then that's good enough for me. Now, just because it is much simpler for your life if you mix the essential oil in all at once. Alright, so back down to here. So I just screwed off the top of the essential oil thing, and your bottle may or may not have a little drip thing, so you could put like a tiny drop at once into your paste, but you don't really want that because you're gonna pour the whole thing. So again, this is 30 milliliters or 1 ounce. And what we're using is cajeput essential oil. And the reason that we're using cajeput essential oil is because it is safe for the skin when used in the concentration that we're using it, which actually is very low when you take into consideration all the henna powder and lemon juice that we're also adding. So it's safe for the skin, and most importantly, it helps bring out the dye from within the henna leaves. So it kind of breaks down the leaves a little bit and lets the dye get out better. So it's going to be a much darker stain than if you didn't use any essential oil. Now you don't have to use essential oil, and sometimes you might not if someone is just going through something like in a chemotherapy kind of situation, where you don't know exactly all of the ingredients of all of their chemotherapy cocktail. So as we were saying, You're going to use cajeput essential oil, 1 ounce or 30 milligrams, and we're just going to put it right in right now. When the henna is this kind of texture, we just pour it all in at once. And you're, one other reason to use cajeput oil, as I just get a big whiff of it, is it smells okay. It smells pretty good, as opposed to tea tree, which smells like super funky and bad, and I hate it so much. And sometimes people use eucalyptus, but there are so many kinds of eucalyptus out there that, and some of them are not as safe for skin, that you just want to be really careful if you're going to use eucalyptus to know you're using the exact right one. Or you can use lavender. Lavender is really good. I personally also hate the smell of that, but it's it's considered to be very safe for the skin. But cajeput essential oil is going to be your option that is both reasonably priced and smells okay and works really well and is safe. So there you go. And if you have a look down at the mixture, we've been mixing away, and it's getting pretty good. The Mohana henna is what people would call, like, it's a combination of stringy, which is this tendency for it to like stick to itself, and creamy, which is its tendency to like flow better. So people who like, some people like their henna really stringy to make nice long lines and draping, and then some people like their henna really creamy because it's much easier to do dots and little teardrop shapes and like smaller things where you're picking up the henna cone more often. I like it to be just the perfect little balance in between the two. So I like Mohana, and we actually select Mohana specifically to be that balance. All right, so we are done here. Like, this is about right. This is what we want it to look like. I always just leave my mixing spoon in my bowl because I don't want to clean it off and lose some of the henna, and then also have to dirty another spoon the next day anyway. So I just leave it right in there, and then cover with saran wrap, conveniently pre-cut for YouTube video purposes, and then you squish the saran wrap down around the spoon, around the edges of the bowl, so that there's not much contact with the air and the henna. There might be a few tiny air bubbles, that's okay. But basically, there you go. You just leave this out at room temperature for 24 hours now. And then what you're going to do after those 24 hours is do a test for dye release, and then see that it is indeed gonna work. And then once you've confirmed that yes, it is working, thin it out to your preferred consistency. And if you like your henna a little bit more on the creamy side than the stringy side, use an electric mixer for a long time to get it to that creamiest point, and then you put it in your cones and you're ready to go. So that concludes our henna mixing video. Again, it was just 100 grams of henna, 1 ounce of cajeput essential oil, and lemon juice to just by eye. It's somewhere between 1 and 1 1/4 cups total. So with that, that's the end of this video. So hopefully you know how to mix up your henna now. We will have more videos in the how-to list shortly. So if you could kindly subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And then here is where you can look at the rest of the playlist of how-to videos. And then over here is where you can view the next video that I've picked out to be watched after this one. So that's it. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.